You know when you got the candy in the movie and you fed it to the monster?
Yeah.
That was pretty hilarious, and I was like, I wonder...
Chunk.
Chunk. Keep forgetting the name. What's it called? Did you ever like get it wrong where you had to like did you ever trip or do anything in that scene?
In that scene? Chunk is the one who feeds Sloth, and they had a great time together. They did. I don't think they messed anything up. The only thing that got messed up was the director was laughing so hard at some of the funny things that you can actually still in the movie hear the director laughing off camera. They didn't take it out. You still hear him laughing if you know what you're listening for. Yeah. Thank you for your questions.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you. All right, a few more questions. Young person over here. Kind of do. Really? All right, three more questions. Go. You know this little one, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just tilt it down. There you go.
How did you feel like when you got the leading role of the Goonies?
How did I feel when I got the leading role of the Goonies? Well, I messed up the audition. And I cursed in front of the director and producer. And Steven Spielberg, the producer, walked out. So I didn't think I got that job. And I got into the car and I said to my dad, I messed up. He said, there's no way you messed up. You were too prepared for your audition. You practiced too much. I was like, I messed up. I cursed. I said, oh, S something. And he couldn't believe it. So I get home and there was a call and they said, you've been offered the part. You got the part. Later, Steven Spielberg said he left because he thought he was making me nervous and he knew I had the part before I opened my mouth. So, which is an interesting phenomenon. But it sort of means if you're an actor, don't be nervous because it's pointless to be nervous. That you're either right or you're not. And even if you're right, sometimes you don't get it, so you might as well not worry about it. But anyhow, so they offered me the part, but there was another movie called The Explorers, starring River Phoenix and Ethan Hawke. And Joe Dante directed that. And they called and offered me a test deal. And a test deal basically just means we're going to negotiate your money and everything to do with your agreement, your deal. And then you're going to come in and audition with 2 other people for the same part. And then they'll choose one of the 3 of you, and you've all negotiated your deal. So I had to choose right away. I said, okay, so I'm offered the Goonies, which I can do, or I can test for The Explorers, maybe get it, maybe not get it. And I have to decide now. And in the Goonies, I get to kiss the girl. It wasn't much of a choice. But the other movie seemed more important. It was about big ideas of civilization and other species. And so my agent and my dad were like, listen, you know, this other movie, The Explorers, it's a really important movie. I was like, I don't care. I definitely want to do Goonies. And then the movie came out and made $100 million, and my agent said, I'll never argue with a decision of yours again. So, okay, good question. Thank you for your question. 2 more questions, yes? What was it like working with Kevin Bacon in Whitewater Summer? One of 2 Kevin Bacon whitewater rafting movies, the one not with Meryl Streep. You know, I got to feel like a grown-up on that. We filmed that in the Sierra Nevadas, and we were hiking and rappelling off of rocks, and we were kayaking and just canoeing and stuff. And it was like, it was a great adventure to be on. And Kevin, very serious actor, very focused actor, playing a part that was a little bit of a risky part because he's being mean to kids. I was like, do you want to play a part where you're coming off being mean to kids? So, but he wanted it to be good, and he had a good sense of humor, and it was exciting. But they couldn't figure out how to finish it, so we kept going back 3 months later and do a couple more scenes. Go back another 3 months. I went to New Zealand twice doing pickups for that, and then went to Canada once, and then and then finally went to Beverly Hills and filmed those on-camera narration, like, you know, retrospective shots. So that's like a chronicles of my puberty. What did I look like at 13 and 14 and 15 and 16? Okay, last question. Last question. My look-alike right here. Yeah. You gotta look at everybody. Wait, stand over there a little bit. Stand right over there. Yeah. No, look at the camera. Don't we look alike? Okay, you can ask your question now.
So, in Lord of the Rings, that movie and the trilogy in general really affected my childhood. It was a great movie. I loved seeing it when it would come out in the theater. What movies and shows really affected your childhood and made you do what you wanted to do?
Great question. Great question to end on. You know, there are kids here today, and they're seeing many for the first time. Actually, somebody asked me a question. A kid asked me, two kids asked me questions within 10 minutes of each other. And in all the conventions I've done for the last 15 years, nobody ever asked it like this. They looked at me, and this one little boy said, he was like, he said, "Are you real?" You know, made me think of the Velveteen Rabbit. What does it mean to be real? You know, and so I reached over and I touched his hand, and he was like, "Oh, real." And you know, you come to a hall like this and you meet some of these wonderful comic book artists, and you meet some actors or people you know, and all of a sudden you maybe realize a little bit more that you can touch your dreams. They can become real to you. Even more, you know, they're real when you're sitting in the dark and you're watching a movie and it's affecting you. That's real enough. But you know, everybody has the ability to fall in love in a movie or to be transported to another world. For me, I think the first time it happened for me in a way that was earth-shattering was when my father took me to the Directors Guild of America, which has a great screening room, and he showed me E.T. And you know, I believed. I just believed. You know, I was seeing it with a filmmaker. My father's a filmmaker with the other group of filmmakers, so I had this extra added disassociation. Like I'm looking at it through the eyes of professionals. But Steven Spielberg made it so easy not to see a puppet, but to see a real creature with real sensitivity. And Henry Thomas's performance in that movie, when he's crying with E.T., when he's like, "I don't want you to go," you know, it's so he doesn't want to lose him. And when he's laughing, like that performance, Henry Thomas's performance may have been one of the most important performances I've ever seen because of where I was at in my life and how I felt when I saw it. But then you go on in the 80s. I've been saying this to people this weekend. The 80s were fantastic. Yes, they were. The 80s were, there was so much great stuff. For me, I said yesterday, Ghostbusters, Raiders of the Lost Ark, you know, I mean, just such great movies that capture the time. But then as I grew up, I watched a lot of movies. I said yesterday, Lawrence of Arabia. You look at Patton, George C. Scott as Patton. You know, you look at Gandhi. What's his name? Ben Kingsley, Sir Ben Kingsley, yeah, sorry, as Gandhi. These kind of performances where or Jimmy Stewart or something like that, when you watch movies and you realize that you can have weight to your performances, even if you have comedy. You know, if you look at Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, and he's so goofy through the beginning of it, and then he has that great speech at the end, you start to want to get speeches like that you can give. You know, you want to say words like that and be able to put your heart and your soul into them. And then you get a speech like the Two Towers, you know. It's like the great tales, Mr. Furrow, the ones that really matter. Folk in those stories had lots of chances of turning back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to, something about the darkness and the shadow will pass, and the light will shine out the clearer. And like, you look at these words and you're like, man, I've got this movie, a religious movie coming out at the end of the year, and I get to give these speeches about God and stuff. They're so great. So I'm so blessed to do that. Anyhow, listen, everybody. They're gonna orchestrate. Have you got it orchestrated with the Joe? Where's Joe? You guys have it worked out with the mechanics of this? Where are we? Jesse, you're here. Okay. So Brett, why don't you stand at the end, or stand right here, and you can take people's ticket, and then you can help people along, and I've got the things. Okay, good. Yeah, just help it along. If you, I just want to say thank you for your hospitality, McAllen. I love being here. You people are beautiful and so welcoming, and I really appreciate that. And I'm excited to sign pictures for those of you who did it. Thank you all very, very much. And just make a line off to the right-hand side here if you're going to come up and get your pictures.